What's up? My name is Eric Butler. This channel is called Report and Opine. I am back, and from Pix 11, New York bill would decriminalize sex work for consenting adults. So first off, they're really going with this term sex work. It is one of their Democrat dystopian doublespeak euphemisms, right? They don't want to say hooker. They don't want to say prostitute. It's sex work now because they are going to change the words and change the definitions of everything until nothing makes sense. That's the goal, obviously, to gain complete control. And for, people to feel bad for saying a word that we had been using for decades, probably even longer. And a couple years ago, we just changed it, and now you have to jump through that hoop, right? It's real whack-a-mole out there. They're constantly moving the goalposts. That's not new. But they love crime. They are telling you that you have to take your mask off if you want to go into a business now, which of course is a complete 180 from what we said before. So they're pretending to stop certain crime, but they want to give you safe injection sites, right? They want you to test your dope for fentanyl. They want to legalize weed, and then they're going to tell you, well, you smoked too much of it and now you're in a psych ward. Go ahead and watch that video from a week or two ago. So now they want to decriminalize this quote-unquote sex work, so you will always be addicted to something. It's going to cause a problem, and then they are going to have the solution, obviously, in the form of pills, pharmaceuticals, whatever it might be. And just so we're 100% clear, this is the same state, this is the same place that wouldn't let you leave the house without a mask. You can't get on the train without a mask. You can't go to work without a mask. And then, of course, they kicked it up a notch. You can't go to work if you don't get the shot. You can't go to school if you don't get the shot. You can't even go to Applebee's. You can't go to a gym. You can't go to the movies unless you comply. They were jamming Q-tips all the way up people's noses until it touched their brain to see if they had this super deadly thing that they wouldn't even let you go inside Trader Joe's. And now they're telling you that you should go get a hooker? I mean, the science has really evolved that quickly, huh? This is absolutely insane. These people are despicable. I say it every single day, but as long as they keep going, I'm going to keep going. And let's see what Pix 11 has to say about decriminalizing sex work.
Lawmakers in New York are looking at legislation to decriminalize sex work.
First of all, look at this guy. Bro, you have got to drop a couple pounds. How are you remaining on television right now? Look at this sloppy guy. He's like, yeah, I'm going to get some hookers right now.
Between consenting adults.
Supporters say this will strengthen protections for a vulnerable community, but those opposed say it would give power to the abusers. Capitol correspondent Mail Talishi has more.
Yes, of course it will give power to the abusers, right? Do we remember Elliot Spitzer, the former governor of New York who got caught with some high-end hookers? Are we ever going to be able to decouple human trafficking and prostitution? I don't think so. You can pretend, but it's not real. Oh, yeah, no, they want to do it on their own. There's always going to be the element of the predator. There's always going to be the element of the pimp, but they pretend that doesn't exist. I mean, these are the same people who told us they didn't even know what a woman was, and now it's a woman's right to choose. Now it's Women's History Month. Now it's Women's Day. Right? So these people are just all over the place. And when they say jump, you are supposed to say how high, no matter what happens.
Prostitution is illegal in the state of New York. Sex workers are pushing for legislation that would remove some of the barriers they face when it comes to addressing and reporting crime in their field of work. Assemblywoman and key sponsor of the bill, Jessica Gonzalez Rojas, says it's important for people to know the bill will not make sex work legal, but would decriminalize it.
It includes both the sex worker, the person who is selling their body, and someone who is purchasing the sex. So it takes away criminal penalties, it prevents raids from happening, and ensures that sex workers are safer.
Advocates say this will help sex workers come forward when there is an incident of coercion or violence. Rojas says in her community, most of the people involved in sex trade are undocumented trans women.
And often there's no...
Oh, okay, so most of the sex workers in her district are undocumented trans women. So what that really means is, in this woman's district, most of the hookers are men, and they're illegal at that. And so these are the people that she's hoping to protect. Illegal men dressed up as women selling their bodies to Johns. That's who's most important here. Meanwhile, they got dogs outside of CVS to keep people from stealing deodorant and toothpaste. All right, so this is what happens, right? Well, we'll get rid of the crime by making sure that it's not a crime anymore. And then we're going to come back and tell you that, crime has dropped 45%. These people are ridiculous. How is anybody taking this seriously? How does she sleep at night?
Other choice. But if they choose to do...
And for the record, she does kind of look like a whore. Her makeup is super heavy. She looks like she's been in that lifestyle. So she is out there on television defending illegal men dressed up as women who want to prostitute themselves to other weirdos who want to have relations, I suppose, with, I mean, this is just through the roof. But New York is just this weird demonic place, right? Like, I mean, they don't care what you do. They do not care what you do. You can lie, cheat, rob, steal. You're going to be back out on the street in 48 hours or less. But if your thoughts go against what they want you to think, you will be punished.
We want to protect them.
But Christian Eduardo is a survivor of sex trafficking and says victims once again will feel powerless.
And it's very sad to hear advocates like saying the same words that my traffickers told me.
Eduardo says he was afraid for his life, but after 6 months, he managed to escape. He says while advocates are normalizing sex trade, it's very dangerous.
But the reality is,
of course, they're normalizing sex trade. Like I said, Governor Elliot Spitzer, right, stepped down because he was caught up with high-end hookers. That is the sex trade. So, of course, they want this to be decriminalized because they're all into it. I mean, they're not even hiding it anymore, which I guess is better than attempting to hide it.
Is that in prostitution, like a lot of times people die. In prostitution, sex buyers can stab you. In prostitution, sex buyers, traffickers can hit you. They can force you to buy or consume substances.
He says lawmakers should instead push for the equality model, which provides education, decriminalizes people who are bought and sold, and provides an exit strategy for those in prostitution. Reporting in Albany, Amel Talegi.
It's been 20 years since I left.
Okay, so this makes perfect sense, actually, right? After they decriminalize weed, after they give you safe injection sites so you're all doped up, of course, you couldn't go to the gym, you couldn't go to the restaurant. We know about all that. So after they have you high as a kite on everything, and that's completely legal, the next logical step is to, of course, legalize prostitution. And they call it sex work. And do we think for 1 second that obviously this is tied to human trafficking? But of course, they're all high on drugs. You think a hooker walking around sober as a judge, you know, picking up Johns off the track? No, absolutely not. So this is all wrapped up into one disgusting, terrible establishment control burrito where they want you to obviously be at the brink of, you know, rock bottom, right? So you're not going to question what they're doing. You're not going to be angry when they throw down a couple pennies at you and pretend that they're helping you. Because if you start to, I bet you this, if the prostitutes start to make too much money, they're going to be asking for, you know, Uncle Sam's cut. So just wait until that happens. We see it exactly with weed, right? It was illegal, now it's legal, but only 2 places can sell it because those are the 2 places that are going to kick it up to us. Because no blackjack, no dope deals, not a nickel bag gets sold in the park, right? Without them getting their cut. So they're going to decriminalize this, and before you know it, they are going to be taxing pimps and hoes. So thank you for watching. Please like, comment, share, and of course, subscribe.